Hello students, let us begin with our next type of a plan which is called as a procedure. Now what is a procedure? A procedure is a set of sequential steps determined in advance and standardized for initiating, carrying through and completing routine and repetitive work. Let us break this particular meaning and understand what exactly we mean by procedure. So procedure is a set of sequential steps determined in advance. So any activity, any task which has to be completed should be completed with the help of predetermined steps. Now these steps or the sequential steps which are determined in advance is called as a procedure. Let's say for example, a company want to buy the raw material. So there has to be a procedure for buying the raw material. Now let us understand this in detail. Now what could be the procedure of buying raw material? Let's say a company has 3 to 4 vendors who supply them raw material on a regular basis. अब चार अगर ऑप्शंस है सप्लायर्स के तो हम कौन से सप्लायर से रॉ मटेरियल परचेस करेंगे. Now here comes the role of procedure. How exactly you are going to decide from which vendor you will buy the raw material. Let's say you ask for quotations to all the suppliers. Now the suppliers will give the quotation, they will give the tentative delivery date. Based on the quotation and based on the delivery date, the business can then finalize which vendor they are going to buy the raw material for this particular month. So procedure basically tells the set of steps that has to be carried out in order to complete a given task. Now procedure should be standardized. Why standardized? So that whoever is doing that work or whoever is doing the similar kind of a work should be following the same steps. Therefore, it is important कि आप वो procedures को standardize करो. Now let's take one more example. Let's say there are two different departments. In department A, one of the employees wanted to apply for a leave on a medical ground. So here comes the role of a procedure. So what should be the procedure? Applying for the leave, providing the required documents, taking the approval from the management, and then the leave will be approved. Now let's say that in other department, that is department B, there is another employee who also wish to apply for a leave on medical grounds. Now here is the word standardization comes. So whatever employee in A department has done, same steps will be followed by the employee in department B. Now this is standardization of procedures. Now these procedures are basically meant to complete our routine kind of a work, routine work, or we can say repetitive work. Now here procedure helps to define the task. Now whenever you write down the procedure, let's say it is admission procedure, it is examination procedure, it is procedure for taking railway concession in college, it is procedure for taking transfer certificate from college. Any procedure that you are going to write, it helps you to define that given task. So here you exactly understand how you are going to complete a given piece of work. So that is why we say that procedure helps to define the task. The next is standardize. So any activity which is of a repetitive nature in any organization, it could be purchasing, it could be handling the complaints or grievance handling, it could be recruitment of employees, it could be leave sanction. Any such task which are repetitive in nature should be standardized. So anybody who is purchasing the raw material, anybody who is applying for the leave, anyone who has put the complaint, anything which is of a repetitive work or repetitive or a routine work should be standardized. Procedure also guide to complete the action. So procedure is going to tell the employee, it is going to tell the manager what steps they are going to follow in order to complete a given task. Now, how do you describe procedures? So let us see what are the features of effective procedure. So procedures should be purposeful. Now, any procedure that you write should be helpful to the organization. It should be helping in completing the given task and it should not complicate the task. Okay. So it should be purposeful, functional, and aligned to the organizational needs. So whatever are the needs of organization, this procedure should be helping to fulfill the needs. The procedure should be helping to complete the given task in the simplest manner. The second feature is procedure should be written. Now, it is always advisable to have a written document. Anything which is discussed verbally, anything which is discussed or communicated orally cannot be remembered and it cannot be standardized. So, अगर standardize करना है, if you want that everybody should follow the same procedure, it is better to have it in the written format. Procedures should be simple and clear. Now, procedures का मेन रीजन ही वही है कि आपको जो टास्क दिया है उसको आपको कंप्लीट करना है सही तरीके से. तो जब भी आप प्रोसीजर्स लिखते हो उसको सिंपल रखना है और क्लियर रखना है. अवॉइड यूजिंग एनी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लैंग्वेज, अवॉइड writing down complicated steps because that is not going to help you to complete the task in a proper way. So it is always better to have the procedures which are simple and clear to understand. The next feature is it should be flexible. See, we all know that the business environment is not going to remain stable. It is dynamic, it keeps on changing. So in order to adjust, in order to adapt to the changing requirements and the needs, it is always advisable that the procedure should be flexible. Means आप कोई भी procedure को जब आप लिखते हो, it should not be rigid, it should not create a lot of complication, it should be able to alter or it should be able to make changes in the steps according to the changing requirement. Lastly, we can say that deligible. So whenever you are assigning any task, whenever you are giving the authority, whenever you are delegating the authority, the procedures should help the higher level management or procedures should help the managers to easily delegate the task to the next level manager or next level employee. So procedures should be as simple, procedures should be written down clearly and it should be in writing. Only then it is going to help the managers to delegate the task to their team members. So these are the features of procedure. Now, why is procedure important? It's very easy. Just imagine if the procedures are not clearly written down, it is going to create a lot of confusion. It may create a lot of chaos. मतलब हर employee same तरीके से काम नहीं करेगा. Every employee will perform in a different manner. So that we want to avoid. So let us see what is importance of procedure. It results into structured operations. Now standardize and streamline day-to-day activity, creating management by system. Now when you write down the procedure, it is going to help the organization to run systematically, especially your day-to-day activities. Right from the minute you log in into your system until you log out in the evening, whatever activities you're doing on the day-to-day basis, it can be standardized. Second importance is policy implementation. So whenever you have clearly written down procedures, आपके जो भी policies है उसको implement करना easy हो जाता है. See, procedures basically करता क्या है, आपको step by step बताता है कि आपको कोई भी task को complete कैसे करना है. So if your procedures are clearly written down, clearly defined, आपकी जो actual policies है that can be implemented in a very very smooth manner. The next thing is it also improves the efficiency and helps to control the activities. Now, see, it is going to improve the efficiency because you know the steps how you're going to implement a given task. It is going to save your time, and it is also going to help the manager to supervise the given task. Therefore, procedures are helping in create improving the efficiency and bringing the coordination between the team members. Last but not the least, procedures are also going to help bring consistency in your work. So whenever you have clearly written down procedures, it is going to bring consistency. So there will not be any differences in the pattern of work. There won't be any change in the steps, and the actions taken by the department can be consistent. So let us summarize. In the previous lecture, we have done policies. So we are going to summarize policies and procedures together. So what are policies? Policies are the broad, flexible guides that channel thinking and define decision-making limits to active objectives. So policies are basically the guidelines. It is going to tell you how you are going to take your decisions. It is going to guide you in your thinking process. Whereas procedures means these are the standardized sequential steps for your routine work, the how behind every organizational action. So procedures are basically going to tell you how you are going to complete the task. Together, we can say that policies set direction, procedures ensure consistent, efficient execution across the organization. So what is the role of policy? Policy एक डायरेक्शन देगा आपको. It is going to tell you कि how, what are the limits within which you have to complete the task. It is going to act as a guideline. Whereas procedure आपको consistency देगा. Procedure आपके हर task को consistent रखेगा, and it is going to help you complete your task in a smooth manner. So here we complete with our next type of a plan, which is called as policies. So now we will meet in the next session with a different type of a plan. Until then, happy learning to everyone. Thank you.